Hello everyone, just give us a moment. Hi Trupti, hi Gayatri, hi Shubhangi, how are you? Okay, just a couple of minutes before we start. Give me a few things. Just let me know if you can hear my audio clearly. I'm just trying something. Hi Malvika. If you could just let me know if my audio is clear. I'm trying today to do it without my headphones. Thank you, Shibangi. If it works without this without the headphones, I'm just going to try it out. Hopefully, it does. Hi, Yogita. Thank you, Malvika. Thank you for letting me know. But we'll also check it once when we have our guest too. That is when I think the main issue at times comes across. Let's see if this live also works. Also, if somebody who is possibly there on my Facebook list, if they could also check out if it's actually, I've just posted a link on Facebook, and if it works that way too, if the live works on that session too. So let's hope that it does work, and let's see. So just give me 1 more minute. A couple of people. Perfect. I think we should be ready to go. And I'm going to put on something which I presume most of you will identify. Okay. So just go. Hello, my name is Amit Sangekar. माझं नाव आहे अमित सांगेकर. मेरा नाम है अमित सांगेकर. Welcome to Beyond Reading with You, Season 3, Session 10, where we do poetry reading and more. A very, very happy Ganesh Chaturthi to each one of you who are celebrating. And this is a lovely doodle done by Komal. And I just had to put it up. I simply loved what she has done. And I'm sure you have heard, a lot of you have heard her speak on this session. So, nice. This is, today is going to be a bit about travel, but not just travel, but seeing travel through somebody's lenses. And hopefully we'll have an interesting session. Aren't poetry and travel simply two different modes of exploring the world? Of learning who we are, what we believe, and how it all fits together. I'm going to read out a poem by John O'Donoghue, an Irish scholar, philosopher, poet, and a priest. The poem is titled For the Traveller, and it's specifically meant to speak about solo traveling. It says, every time you leave home, another road takes you into a world were you never in. New strangers on other paths await, new places that have never seen you. Will startle a little at your entry, old places that know you well, will pretend nothing changed since your last visit. When you travel, you find yourself alone in a different way, more attentive now to the self you bring along. Your more subtle eye watching you abroad, and how what meets you touches that part of the heart that lies low at home. How you unexpectedly attune to the timbre in some voice, opening in conversation you want to take in, to where your longing has pressed hard enough, inward on some unsaid dark, to create a crystal of insight you could not have known you needed to illuminate your way. When you travel, a new silence goes with you, and if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. A journey can become a sacred thing. Make sure before you go to take the time to bless your going forth, to free your heart of ballast, so that the compass of your soul might direct you toward the territories of spirit, where you will discover more of your hidden life and the urgencies that deserve to claim you. May you travel in an awakened way, gathered wisely into your inner ground, that you may not waste the invitations which wait along the way to transform you. May you travel safely, arrive refreshed, and live your home. Live your time away to its fullest. Return home more enriched and free to balance the gift of days which call you. This is what solo traveling does to people, and a lot of people who have possibly had the fortune of traveling solo would have experienced some of these. I'm going to now invite our guest today, and let's have her. Where is she? There she is. And I've sent her a request. We'll also do an audio check once she's online. Hey, hi Gayatri, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now just give me a minute. I have a feeling I have an audio thing because I can't hear you loudly, but that is, I think, because of the headphones. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll get my headphones onto the screen. If you could just say a few words, I mean, others will possibly check.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Gayatri, a solo traveler, photographer. Just very nervous and excited about the live session.
Oh my God!
So, is it all good?
You are nervous. Oh my God! That's
I am.
different.
I am.
Don't be.
Yeah.
But no, thank you, Gayatri. First of all, so friends, this is Gayatri. Gayatri is a Mumbai-based freelance photographer and traveler, expanding her boundaries with each backpacking trip. So that's what I enjoy about her. She just randomly decides, okay, let's go here, and then she puts out this word. And then if there are people there or not there, but she goes on and she captures some absolutely beautiful moments of her travels. And she, though she is an avid photographer in her own stead, most of her travel photographs are with her phone. And that is what has intrigued me because she still manages to get that kind of output, which I would envy totally. Okay. So she has some beautiful moments which she captured. She has worked for multiple brands. I think one of the latest ones which I saw of her was her work along with somebody with the great Mr. Tata. And that must have been an absolutely brilliant experience in itself. She's also an ex-finance professional. So as she says, she remains true to her valuation as such. So very nice.
I tried to.
But thank you. And I think she's also said that because she's an introvert, she loves her solo trips by itself, where she's experimenting, not being judged by people around. But I think that's wonderful. So first of all, welcome to our session. Thank you for agreeing to do this. How are things at your end right now?
All good. Much better.
Nice.
Yeah, you know it.
So tell me, and I'm going to go directly into this. Tell me something about your childhood. I mean, growing up, did capturing moments become a part of your journey while growing up, or was it something later? So just fill us in.
To be very honest, capturing pictures and taking photographs was never a part of my childhood. In fact, it was the opposite of that, you know. And like people say, when you don't have something, the urge to do it just increases as you grow, right? So it's something very similar. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of pictures of myself.
Okay.
So my only intention when I, got to know the world, like capturing and, memories. So that is when I thought, capturing is something that I wanted to do because since I don't have memories, I need to create memories.
Correct.
So that was the wild thought that I had. So I never thought of it as a professional, in a professional way. I just wanted to click pictures. So when I had my first CyberShot camera, like we got it when I was in my 10th grade.
Okay.
So I thought I owned the best camera in the world. I am going to capture everything. I thought I had the best camera. And I remember I participated in this one competition in like an inter-college fest that happened in Mumbai,
Okay.
which is considered a cool thing. So I went with so much confidence. So I participated in a couple of events.
Okay.
One of them was photography, and I was expecting, like, I was like, I'm going to win this event.
Okay.
And it so happened that I lost that event so badly, and I won in other events. And I was so shocked, and I was like, how can this happen? Like, I've been capturing pictures, but how can I lose? And then I realized, so while walking down, I saw people like my seniors with, bigger DSLR cameras. I didn't know it was called a DSLR then. Like, I was in my 11th standard, like I was in 11th grade, and I didn't know it was called a DSLR. So I just came back home, Googled what's a DSLR, like what is that big camera called.
Okay.
So I didn't know. So I Googled weird stuff and started learning things by myself, little by little, and like at every typical Indian household, my parents were like, you'll get a camera if you get good percentage in your 12th grade. And then that's how it happened. So I got it, and then yeah, absolutely. Like I was behind my parents for 2 years, and then finally after my 12th grade, it happened.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
So once the DSLR came in, or you were real exposure to, I would call that maybe a real exposure to photography happened.
Yeah.
How did the journey with the camera itself go about? What happened? What did you first start shooting? What was your how was it in the beginning?
Okay, I'm sure my mom is watching this, but she will be absolutely furious about this even today. So I was preparing for my CA exam, that is Chartered Accountancy.
Okay.
So I was about to like give my entrance in a week, and I remember I used to have this huge books with me and a camera next to me. And then I never touched the books. I was so into photography because that is when I got the camera for the first time. So I started capturing leaves, I started capturing macro, insects, water. I used to just turn on the tap water in my bathroom. I just click splash of water. So very random things at home because I was not allowed to go out because I had to study.
Right.
So I used to capture random things and then that is how it all began. And then all my CA friends, they were actually like, Gayatri, you're in the wrong profession. I think you should do photography. And I somehow took it very seriously, but my parents were not very happy about that initially. They were like, really, you want to switch from CA to photography? And but eventually that happened. I'm grateful for that. So yeah, very random things at home is what I started with capturing.
Now, how did travel then happen to you? What was that, or was again travel a part of something growing up, or did that also happen? And then, but obviously, the graduation to solo traveling.
Yeah. So, like, I was a very introvert child. I didn't really have a lot of friends. So, growing up, like when I was in college, I really didn't have a group of friends, not even like a group of 4 people to go with.
Okay.
And then I realized that I'm depending too much on people to go on trip. Like I want to go on a trip, but I'm waiting for people to come with me. So it's not going to work out for me.
Okay.
Like how long will I wait, right? So I can't wait for 4 years for someone to agree to come with me. I'd rather pack my bags and I leave. So that was my thing, because I really didn't want to waste the time because now I have this feeling of I have to go travel, explore. And being an introvert, it also helps, because there are certain things that I don't do in front of my friends, which I, can do in front of strangers because they're not going to judge me. They don't know the past me. So they're not going to judge me, obviously. So I just, do random things. Like I try to be some other person when I'm traveling just to experiment. It's not like I want to change myself, but just to experiment what it feels like to be an extrovert or what it feels like to be a tourist at some different place. So if I travel with a bunch of people, I feel like I have to be myself in front of them. If I behave weirdly, then they obviously are going to come up with like, when did this happen? So I wanted to experiment
with
different.
Critical insight that sometimes just to let that inner, I won't call it inner beast, but the inner self that you lose and try new things. It may not be something which may be you as a person, but it's just that the urge to try out something which something
new.
Literally, I mean, this is brilliant. It's a very nice insight. And I think a lot of
So yeah, that
people
is
who would want to do solo traveling should actually do it just for this, if not for anything else.
absolutely like all the benefits of like growing as a person, experiences, talking to random people, strangers, listening to their stories, giving them solutions. Like I've done that. So it's a very different feeling. Apart from all this, but you get to try out a different personality,
Correct.
which you cannot actually do in front of your friends because they will be like, "Why are you so different? Why are you behaving so weirdly?" So, so that is one main reason why I like solo traveling.
Has this solo traveling helped you change or develop as an individual in any manner?
Absolutely. It has, I won't call it a change, I will call it a growth.
Okay.
Because I am going to be the person I am. I really don't want to change. But I've grown. Like I've started seeing things in a different perspective, which I never did.
Correct.
Like, say for example, I used to feel very weird around people across. But then once I started so I'm an introvert. So if I see a bunch of extroverts talking, like say in a backpacking hostel where you have people all over the world, just sitting and talking. So there was a time when I used to feel very awkward going there and talking. But the moment I started experimenting as an extrovert, like just being an extrovert, just an experiment, that is when I realized that I can see things in a different perspective, which I've always been in my own bubble or shell. But that sort of gave me a different perspective to life, and I really, really admire. Like I experiment random things when I'm traveling.
What was the initial reaction at home when you decided about all this?
So okay, there was no initial, so there were multiple phases.
Okay.
So I switched from CA to doing MBA.
Right.
And then, like last year, I actually got admission in a good B school, but also like affiliated with a foreign university. Like I had chance of going abroad as well and studying.
Okay.
Like I scored really well, like 90 plus percentile was like huge. And then, so my parents always thought, okay, she's going to be like this, finance professional corporate girl. But then, so when I told them about this, actually, I'll tell you about my first solo travel.
Sure.
It was through my finance company. So I was sent to Delhi for an audit.
Okay.
Okay, and all by myself. I was 20 then. And so my parents were very, concerned. Like, why are they sending you alone, that too in a place like Delhi? Why do they have to send you alone? But that is when I was like, so this offer was given to me and my friend. She was very reluctant. She was like, I really don't want to go to Delhi. But I was like, I really want to go to Delhi. I've never seen Delhi. And this is like a corporate setup. Like, I'm going to live in a beautiful hotel. I'm going to have all the facilities. There's no better time than this. So that is how they were like, okay, they couldn't deny that, So they couldn't say no to an work trip.
Understood. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they couldn't say no. And that is how it all started. So and then after that, I started, bribing them saying, you sent me to Delhi alone. Like all the other places are comparatively safe. So I can obviously go there.
Yeah.
So that was like a very, this factor that I used to convince my parents.
Okay. And
Yeah.
okay, let us dive into some of the work which Gayatri has been doing. And this is only related to her travel photographs to an extent. Because I've seen some of her other work, and I've also had the pleasure of experiencing some of her work personally at an event. But that we'll leave for some other day to discuss. I'm going to put up a few pictures which have been, and I think these capture what she has been saying very till now. I'm going to start off with this from, let's go to Uttar Pradesh first, and let's see if I can get that picture, which I think I personally love. I think this is one of your best images which I have seen, and this is at Varanasi. So when did this trip happen?
So this was my first ever solo trip, actually.
Okay.
So I was actually working in a corporate, like I was working as a finance professional, and then I got this offer from a backpacking hostel saying that, you have to come down to Varanasi to shoot our hostel, like the property shoot that they call. So I was very fascinated, like I'm getting photography commissioned work while I'm in a corporate. So I had to lie in my office for 2 days. I told them that I had to go. So like I took like a Thursday, Friday off, and then Saturday, Sunday, like I took a club leave, and then I went to Varanasi for 4-5 days. And so this is a very interesting picture. So I saw this boat. So this was the only empty boat I saw in Varanasi. Like people travel and it was like a freshly painted sort of a boat. And I saw it from a distance actually. And I saw some boys standing around, so I just waited there. And then I wanted to take a picture of this. But I realized when I take it from a lower angle, I didn't really get the story of it. I didn't really get the feel of the boat, like just still, standing still in the water. So I went upstairs, like there's the guard.
Correct.
So I went upstairs and I took I extended my hand out to the extent possible, and I started clicking pictures. Like I was at risk of dropping my phone in the water, but I still took the chance, and so I have a very interesting story. So this, like I say, like you need to have some story attached to certain pictures. So here it's like, the boat is me. Like I imagined it that way. The boat is me. And the water is basically, the things that you do, like your flow of things that you do, something like that, or the world that you're in.
True.
It's just going to take you away. But the only string that's attached to the shore that you see here, the rope that is your family that's holding you back, from doing, getting away with something. So that is my perspective of looking at this picture.
I can imagine.
This is the story
All these things, I think, they happen as a process immediately in your mind. It's not that you're trying to create that story. You see something and you feel that this is connecting some dots in my family or somewhere, or in my life in some way or the other.
Yeah, in your experience. And also it's very different for every person. Like you can look at this picture in a different perspective altogether. So every picture has a different way of looking at it, and this is my way of looking at it.
For me, the small gap in that entire boat is something which I was trying to make sense of. And I thought, was it something which you wanted to capture? Is that there are so many hidden things which are there about that freshly painted boat. I do not know if I'm revealing something which is inside me. So I can imagine a lot of interpretations, and I can vouch for this with the other couple of photographers and artists whom we have had on the session. It's a similar way. It begins as a story in their minds, and that's what they intend to capture or put on the canvas. Similarly, staying in Varanasi, this was something on one of the bridges, I presume.
Yeah. So this was a very random shot. I was taking the picture of the Ganga, and I was actually in a moving rickshaw.
Okay.
I was inside a rickshaw.
Okay.
And this rickshaw was going in a very slow pace, like you can see, like in a very slow pace, similar to that cycle.
Okay.
And actually, no, the cycle overtook the rickshaw. And I was just like, wait, what? And then I was like, okay, this man is very interesting. And I really like the feel of this. This is not a very technically good picture when it comes to photography, but I just like the story that, this man is going towards something, like the empty roads, and he's going towards, maybe he's going back to his family after work or something.
True.
Just a nice picture.
I think you brought out some a very valid point. I mean, and itself, because you are a professional photographer, about a technically good picture and a moment which is captured. At times, there are two different things, and then you can do so much with a picture later on and try and create a story out of it. But I think most of these travel pictures give you that moment which you have captured at that time.
Yeah. So actually, when it comes to travel and documentary, you don't really look at the technical aspect. You just look for stories.
True.
That is the beauty of travel and documentary photography. Rather than technical aspect, you look at stories.
I'm going to try and go to a higher place now. Try and talk.
Yeah.
Dharamshala.
Dharamshala, Trion. So this was my first Himalayan trek that I did. Very tiring. So we reached there at around 4 o'clock in the evening, 4 or 5 in the evening. We started off early in the morning. Yeah, another favorite picture.
I think a lot of these pictures, for example, these two. I'm intrigued by this one also. It literally conveys your solo travel in so many different ways. Do you always do you have to compose a picture, especially during these times, or?
Very relevant question to this picture. So like I said, I reached the top at around 4 or 5 in the evening. I was super tired. I didn't feel like, exploring or taking pictures. I was so tired, like being my first Himalayan trek. And I threw my bag in my tent, and I was like, okay, this is the only trek that I've done, so I need to go out and take pictures rather than sleeping inside my tent. So I just kept walking. I actually walked past that lady sitting there.
Okay.
And I was, very fascinated. Like, she's sitting at the corner of, like, the hilltop. Like, she's sitting at the corner. Yeah. And I was scared and I was fascinated. Like, how does she have the courage to sit there?
Right.
And so I really wanted. And then what I saw here was, so I really wanted to take a picture of this lady. She was sitting there and meditating, actually, when I saw her.
Okay.
And then, so when I saw her, I really wanted to take a picture of that. So I came running very far just to find this composition, find this mountain, just to make, to have that correlation between nature and a human.
Yeah.
Like, what's nature and what's a human being in front of it.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to capture that correlation here. And so that is why I ran far away, and then I took this picture. And also one very interesting thing, like a technical aspect that I really like about this is there's a shadow of a mountain right behind her, like if you see. Yeah. So it gives a nice contrast, like there's sunlight falling on this lady and there's a dark background which is like making her pop from the actual mountain.
True.
So again, so I actually ran and I actually composed this picture. I really wanted to click her picture.
Okay.
So yeah.
I think one other picture at trend is this one. I mean, first of all, I deliberately did not ask you anything about this picture earlier. I mean, I wanted to understand from you what was this picture about? Is this a night? Is this the night sometime or the evening?
Night? Okay. Yeah, it's a starry night. So again, top, and. So what happened is, this is a very weird story. So I took my camera with me, actually. I had my camera. But what happened is, it so happens that when you're in an extreme cold situation, your camera battery tends to drain out quickly.
Okay.
So when I reached on the top and I checked my camera, I had 0% battery. And I felt like a donkey carrying the camera all the way to the top and not being able to use it.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I need to capture this. Like, I can literally see the stars falling, like Tutta at Tara types. Like, I could see millions of stars with my eyes, but I didn't have the medium to capture it. So that is when I thought, why not give it a shot with my mobile phone? Like, I had 5% battery in my phone. So I was like, why not try it out?
Okay.
So after like 1 hour, I got this picture, and also the strokes that you see here is actually a mistake. So I had a guy from Delhi who was with me on this trek.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even know that person. So I just told him, can you please help me out with the torchlight at least, because it was pitch dark on the top.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, can you please help me with the torchlight? I'll just go around places, just help with the torchlight. So I didn't have a tripod also. So this is like a 30-second shot.
Okay.
I didn't have my tripod. So I actually removed my trekking shoes, like these huge trekking shoes, which is solid enough to hold my phone. And I had my Dettol liquid hand wash bottle. So I made a jugaad tripod out of it, and I captured. I had my numb feet by the end of the shot, but I wanted to capture it so badly. And this stroke is actually, he switched off the torch at the wrong time, 1 second after I pressed the shutter button. So this is a mistake actually, but it just gave a fantastic result. So that's more of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to move from a tabletop, from the top of a mountain to another place which I personally love, is Rajasthan. And I think Rajasthan is a photographer's paradise, according to me.
Absolutely.
It has so much literally to offer. And this is Jodhpur, and this well itself has a lot of history and story to it.
Absolutely.
How was the travel to Rajasthan and capturing Rajasthan in your phone?
So actually, I had this trip of Rajasthan was a work trip again, like a photography related, wherein we didn't have time for shooting anything else but for that particular research that I was doing for a company. So this was just like a 10 minutes gap that I had. So I actually ordered a lens, like a mobile clip-on lens from Amazon to Rajasthan, just because I wanted to, experiment something. And I had a 5-10 minutes break, I remember, when the setup was being changed. So I quickly came, and my hostel was right next to this. So I quickly came to the the step well just to try out that lens. And I saw this bunch of kids jumping in, and they were swimming, and they were doing all of that. Wherein I was told that this is quite a deep well, and people usually don't go swimming, and it's not allowed. These kids, the local boys, they were doing it, and I was fascinated. That's the first time I saw people jumping in. So firstly, I was on the opposite side, and I captured something. Like I tried capturing the splash and something. And then I was like I'm an introvert, so I don't really go up to people and talk. So and then I went to this bunch of boys, and I asked them if, like, can you do it again for my camera? Are you going to only if you're willing to do it? Then he's like, "Ha, hum to aur, like we're going to be here for another 1 hour, so you can take pictures." And so that is when you can actually see the like the, what do I call it? His feet, prints of his feet.
Yes,
there.
the footprints on the...
So after the multiple trials,
Yeah,
like after 2-3 trials, I got this one.
Okay.
So it's not always like a first shot, okay, I got this type of picture. And also one thing that I want to add is, it's not always like you need to take a picture. You can also make a picture, you know. So in this case, if I was just taking the picture, like I wouldn't have walked up to the person, and I would have just been standing somewhere. I would have been just taking a picture.
Yeah.
But since I went up to them and I decided that I want to make this picture,
True.
so that sort of, you know, gave a good result. So it's, yeah.
I think again, a lot of stories, I do not know why you would have captured this particular moment, but it is literally jumping into the unknown. And it again goes into that solo traveler's philosophy mode. You really don't know what are you going to do. And this is what... maybe for that boy, it's something which he does it daily or something. But for us, it's literally a leap of faith into something which we do not know.
Like I even captioned this as leap of fun, you know, because he was having fun. So it's
true. And I think most of the other places in Rajasthan again give you a lot of moments to Gadisar Lake in Jaisalmer. And Jaisalmer itself has so many places where you can have such beautiful photographs. I like the way you have possibly left one of the arches empty, and you managed to capture that too. It's very beautifully composed.
If you look at it closely, it's not empty. You can actually see 2 birds flying in that.
Actually, you're right. Yeah.
So there were like 2 boys, like there's a couple, there are 2 friends, and then there are 2 birds which is like flying freely. So actually this is not a very, like again, technically this is not a very good picture because there are a lot of disturbances around. But obviously, again, when it comes to documentary, you really can't look at it from technical perspective.
True.
You can only look for stories. So, I mean, I really don't have a fixed story for this image, but this is just something like anyone can interpret something out of this, I'm sure.
And I'm sure there are a couple of other images too. So, for example, this of the women walking into, I presume, a haveli of some kind.
Yeah.
And then there was one which I was particularly fascinated was this one. How did this was what? This is one of the forts there. I couldn't...
This is Mehrangarh Fort, Jodhpur. Mehrangarh Fort, So, again, on the last day, I was just walking around the fort by myself, and I was like, okay, I need to click something interesting. So I really didn't want to capture the cliched fort from the, you know, hilltop, somewhere. Like, I didn't want to get the cliched shot. So this is actually one of the walls where they had these holes.
Okay.
You know, like all these Rajasthan they have. Yeah. So I just put my mobile phone camera very close, like I just touched it to the wall, and then I captured this. So this is called frame inside frame in photography.
It's literally
so like capture a frame through a frame.
History captured in a way where it should be. I mean, it's like the present looking into the history with some kind of a frame. Another place I think you enjoy going is Spiti, if I'm not mistaken.
I love this. Yeah. So this was again, actually I traveled last month. I was traveling for 1.5 months continuously.
Okay.
Like I was working on a research project. So I was sent to Spiti and Rajasthan. So the main agenda was to capture blue and white colors. So we went to shoot snow, and we went to shoot like clear skies in Spiti. And then again, we came down to Jodhpur to capture blue city. So it was a research project that I was working on.
Okay.
So I was traveling continuously for 1.5 months. And so this was again like while I was coming back, and I saw this really beautiful mountain. So it was raining actually that time. So, and I was waiting for the skies to get clear. And I was sitting on the other side of the car, and there were all equipments right next to me in the car. So I couldn't really go out, stretch my hand, and take the picture of the mountain. So I thought, why not I create another frame inside?
Yeah.
Like, why not create a
Literally
frame and then
the car's
capture?
window, which is
Yeah, it's the car's window that I try to capture, like my perspective of how I'm looking at it.
super. I think there are few others which are there in this. I do not know if it's from the same trip. I presume this is.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
it's the same trip.
same
Yeah,
trip, right?
it's Skibber in
And
Spiti
there
Valley.
are a few other things. This is, what's this?
This is again Triumph.
And this has also been captured very nicely. I think it's very similar to the one of the lady meditating there, and this is a kind of reflecting. And you had titled this, I wasn't really sure if I got it right, you titled this as Ma.
Ma, yeah, because so this lady, she was sitting there with two of her children, and then they were just playing around. They were playing with me actually.
Okay.
So they were like, "Chalo, didi, khelte hai," and I was like, "Okay." I was playing with them, and this kid, he's actually a boy. So this kid didn't actually have the fear of height. You know, he was just going to the cliff, and he was just standing there, and I was so scared. But you know, her mom was right next to him, and then she was not scared at all, and she was just there for him. She was just holding his hand, and then so somewhere I thought, you know, like Ma is there to protect you, no matter how the world is, like the mountains, whatever is there in front of you, like your mom is going to be by your side. So
I'm going to slide through a few photographs. Let me know if you want me to stop at anyone. This is possibly again from a similar trip. This is somewhere else?
Yeah. This was in Bir Billing. So I actually did paragliding here. And that was the moment when I decided that I wanted to do photography. So very interesting story is like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, if people have seen that movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do this pact at the end of the scene, like in the last climax scene, they do a pact. अगर मैं जिंदा बचा तो मैं उसको शादी के लिए ना कर दूंगा, whatever the dialogue is. So I decided, so I went on this trip with one of my friends, and I told her, see, if at all अगर मैं जिंदा बची, then I'm going to go back home and I'm going to tell my parents that I want to do photography and not this. So this was the moment where I decided that I wanted to do traveling and photography.
There's one of, I think this is you yourself, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. I'm going to go to another place, I presume.
Yeah.
So this, so for me, first of all, when I first saw this, I literally thought of it as a painting, okay? I did not think of it as a photograph at all. But then you start seeing some of the ways in which the people are sitting and stuff, and then you start making out, okay, yeah, this is a photograph. This is Visakhapatnam, down south now.
Yeah. So this is Visakhapatnam is my hometown. Like that is where I was born.
Okay.
So I went to Kailashgiri very randomly, like me, my mama, and my mom, my mama, and myself.
Okay.
So we were just walking, and I saw this frame. Like I just saw this moment, and like my mama and my mom, they were walking ahead, and I just came back. I stepped back, and I took this picture very quickly, and then I went. So I didn't know if this is going to turn out like a good picture, like a usable picture. But when I zoomed in and I saw it, like I actually saw the father using the phone, and you know, it gives a very good story, like how a father is so, you know, he's driven by technology. He's just trying to capture moments while the kids they're so innocent, they're just enjoying the view.
True.
You know, so I just thought of it as a very good storytelling picture.
I think there are a couple of others from Tamil Nadu. This is the Dakshina Chitra Museum. I think outside of the museum is something like this, I presume. Yeah.
So that's my mom. I asked my mom to walk all the way to the other end of the house to capture this picture, because so I just wanted to capture, you know, like a mom waiting for his kid, his son to come back or something, you know, just like someone waiting.
True.
So I just waiting at home.
Waiting to admonish you for not being serious about your studies. I can imagine that.
Or maybe to come back from a solo trip as soon as possible.
I think other things which you play around very well is I saw you play with trees. For example, this.
I play with light and trees. Yeah, I like this. I like flares and stuff.
So this one intrigued me a lot. Where was this?
This is, I think, Kodaikanal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's in Kodaikanal. This was a very random picture. So I just thought of it like, when I saw this, it reminded me of Harry Potter for some reason.
Absolutely.
It reminded me of that. And I really like how the light, actually all the clouds that were giving like a very good foggy effect.
Correct.
And it just fell on all the roots down where it's dark. So it's just giving like a nice contrast, which is like, I just like this picture. Reminds me of Harry
This
Potter.
also, I mean, the play of the sun with the
Flare. I love clicking flares, and like I've always been a huge fan of. So again, this was one of the photo walks that I was going, and then I saw the sunlight hitting my face. I just saw up, and then I saw the sunlight hitting my face, and I just just positioned myself in a way that I could get this flare, and then I did that.
I'm going to go to some random stuff which you have clicked, and this is possibly. Let me come to one. Is this one? This picture currently on screen will not do justice to the depth of the picture right now, because everything around it, and it's literally like my first impression was a Supergirl radiating out rays to destroy her enemies and stuff. I'm sure you have a much better interpretation of that.
It's just my, your way of looking at something, just your eyes and your way of looking at something. So I
think
don't really have a story.
This was trapped. This I found extremely beautiful.
So this is actually my friend. She was inside the washroom, which had a glass door, like half glass door. It was an old property that we were in. And so she was like, hey, can you just wait for me? She just tapped the door, and I saw her palm. And I was like, why don't you come closer? Put both your hands up, and I'll take a picture before you do your job. So I was like...
Very nice, because that moment you captured completely translates into something so different. I mean, once it comes out without the story which you literally told now, it translates into something totally different. This is Marine Drive.
Yeah, Marine Drive.
I think this also must be one of your favorite pictures to just loiter around, places to loiter around and play. A couple of things which I wanted to ask about. Shadows. You also seem to be very fascinated by shadows as such.
Light play. I love light play. So this was again like, this was in CST.
Okay.
This is CST, right outside CST station where, just people, you don't see people standing there. You just see people running.
Yeah.
So this was one of those pictures, like I was just standing, I was waiting for someone to, walk in a way that their shadow particularly falls on this wall. And then, so this just shows the hustle of Mumbai. Like you can see his waving hands, and you can actually see he's walking in a particular pace.
What I also find amazing is the way you work so easily with both color as well as black and white. I think this must be one of your train journeys, for example.
This was actually, I was at my local station.
Oh, and a long distance train passing by.
No. This is not a journey at all. This was when I was working in a corporate. I was just waiting for my local train to come.
Okay.
When I saw this passenger train come on the other platform, and I just thought of taking this picture. So not all the pictures that I shot in Mumbai are particularly like my travel. Like almost all these pictures, like Marine Drive, all of these pictures that I captured were when I was actually working, say in Colaba and World Trade Center. So whenever I used to travel to all these places in a bus or wherever, I just captured these.
Awesome. And these are some of the random clicks which you also had. And there are, where is the other one gone? There was one which was, this was a BST bus.
Yeah.
These are seats.
So this actually it's written, So, but it's a very nice storytelling picture. Like it's written Striyan Sati, but are we actually given that freedom? Like it's like a cage that's being formed by the shadows. And it's like, even though we're given all this rights, like women's, this is the women's compartment, women's seat or whatever, but we're not really given, like, it's not the same when it comes to other aspects. It's just the seats. We don't need that. It's like we're actually trapped. It's not that free for us.
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah,
most
this
of
is
it just remains in words or it remains in on paper, and nothing really
Yeah.
gets translated into action of
Yeah.
any sort. So yeah,
Yeah.
very nicely
So
captured.
this was, again, when I was traveling, when I was going for work. So,
Okay. Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is amazing, Gayatri. And why did you ever give me that disclaimer of stopping you if you are blabbering? I think you speak very nicely. You should not be so worried.
I don't know. Like this is the first time I've been invited as a guest to speak, and I really don't know what.
I mean,
and like
everything is a first, so trust me, it doesn't matter. When I started on 25th of March with all this, I didn't know where I would go. And today I'm at around, 37 or 38 episodes. I do not know how long will it go, but it's been fun. And trust me, I've met very interesting people along the way, similarly like you.
I've seen them,
And it's been a very great learning experience for me, myself. Tell me, do you ever treat any of your photographs as garbage and then just delete them and don't forget them about it? And think you would have done a better one at that particular moment with that photograph?
Yeah, I do feel like, because when it comes to travel or, just capturing random things, you do feel like, okay, this circumstance could have been slightly different. Like, if I had to capture a subject and if there are a bunch of people standing around,
Correct.
I would try capturing it from different angles, but at the same time, I'll also feel if the people were not standing there, I would have gotten a better picture.
Okay.
But again, no complaints. You can always look at perspectives. And again, it's a very cliched dialogue that people say in photography, especially. Like, I'm yet to click my best picture. There's no best picture that I have shot yet. And majority, 95% of my pictures are bad pictures. I'll claim them as bad pictures.
Okay.
Because there's always scope for improvement every day. So it's like, I don't know. Today it might be good. Tomorrow it might not be that great.
Yeah.
So
I think currently one of your biggest challenges will be travel. So when does that solo travel begin again? When does
I'm planning a lot of trips. I've actually planned a lot of trips. So last year I traveled to almost 28 places. Like, I calculated. Not particularly solo traveling, like with family and then work-wise and all of that. And then I had this bucket list or a resolution of that I'm going to be traveling more in 2020. And then
forget it.
And here we are.
And I would love to do a travel with you someday, and let's literally see how you with this entire photography view, and it's really wonderful. And maybe I can add that kind of perspectives to my food when I click it. So very nice, but very nice speaking to you. Preethy says such clear thoughts. So good to hear about you, Gayatri. Best wishes for your future endeavors. So proud of you. Preethy is an excellent, I mean, she's a photographer, she's an author, she's a cook, she's an all-in-one.
Wow.
She's my guru, she's my mentor in a lot of things. So, yes, so she's brilliant. But anyways, Gayatri, I must thank you so very much. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
To you. And please take care of yourself. My regards to your entire family. And I hope to see you soon. Krishna, Kishore, you're
Krishna,
my sister.
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Your sister rocks.
Hi.
Your sister rocks. Yes, well done.
Even he does a lot of solo traveling, so he's just inspired by me.
Good. Thank you so much. Been a pleasure speaking to you. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
What a lovely session speaking to Gayatri. Please don't go away. We have our poet right from Australia, who's going to recite something for us today. And let me see if she's still around. Oh, she is. There she is. Waiting for Preethy to join.
Hi.
Hi, Preethy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Very nice to have you back again.
Thank you.
How is the winter treating you in Australia?
Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay, we will slowly start entering into that now in the UK.
I know. I can't wait for winter to get over. It's good. It's better.
Good. So what do you have for us today?
Okay, so given when you told me it's all about solo traveling, and I was telling my husband, and he said you have so many stories to tell about solo traveling. Just pick any and tell. So what I chose to write was um, I chose to write about, because whenever you travel solo, you do end up meeting a lot of people along the way as well, and you connect with certain people. So other fellow travelers, and there are experiences with them that you kind of have in your life as part of memories. So I wrote a poetry about. So this was when I traveled to Brussels and Bruges. I traveled solo, and I met someone in the bus, and casually over conversation we decided we would just do the trip together. I was there only for 2 days,
Okay.
1.5 days, but we traveled together for 1.5 days. And that was it. And we never spoken to each other, never met each other.
Wow. Okay.
So I thought I would just write a poetry on
Sure.
that. Yeah. And coincidentally, you kept saying capturing moments, and my poetry has a lot of capturing moments phrase in there. So
Okay.
it's a complete coincidence. Yeah. Okay, so the poetry is titled Bonjour Traveler. Um, we were strangers once upon a time, casual conversations over a borrowed smoke. I captured the moment of your intensely made offer. Could we wander through the city? Without a thought, I said yes. For we would capture the moments to tell a story of either a romance or a murder. We captured the moment of intense giggling, posing like the naked little boy, world famous silliest icon. We captured the moment of intense blue blistering barnacles, talking like Captain Haddock and Tintin through the comic trail. We captured the moment of intense pleasure, making dark pralines with raisins at the chocolate workshop. We captured the moment of intense romance, canal cruising through the secret gardens and the bridges. We captured the moment of intense flirtation, trying out the fine, seductive handmade lace. We captured the moment of intense conversations, tasting the 25 different local beers at the brewery. We captured the moment of intense desire to not let go of each other at the bus station. We captured the moment of intense promises we made to each other as we said mercy and au revoir. And as few days passed by, those captured moments became fleeting memories. We were strangers once again. So yeah, I think it just perfectly captures what we solo travelers
For
are.
those of you who have possibly been to Belgium in any manner, you would have possibly identified very well with the mannequin press.
Mannequin fish. It's
You would
such
have
an overrated.
identified with those who know the origins of Tintin will know that Tintin was literally born there. If you have to say, there are shops which literally are just Tintin shops. If I have
Correct,
to say.
correct. My God, you're so excited.
Yeah, I got so excited. Tintin is one of my favorite characters. I mean,
Oh,
I absolutely love Tintin.
Yeah.
And I think Tintin possibly showed that you could abuse in a nice manner, where Captain would tell blistering barnacles, thundering typhoons, and all those. I mean, it sounded so nice, and the entire storyline itself was so beautiful. And I mean, the other parts of Belgium too. I somehow missed the waffles. I don't know why, if you did capture the waffles in it or not.
I'm not in the poetry, but yes, we did have waffles, but we did go for the chocolate making workshop.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we made, they make you do like dark chocolate. You can choose dark or milk, but
Correct.
I'm a dark chocolate person. So dark chocolate with like nuts and raisins. So that was amazing. And you obviously get to eat what you make. So you just
No, and I think you captured the feelings of a solo traveler also very nicely, where you do all these things with somebody possibly for that moment.
Correct.
And then at the end, it's little like, okay, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, you never. Yeah, exactly. That's it. You don't, and you don't think about it, because then you're ready for your next travel, next solo travel. So, yeah.
I don't know. This time possibly Belgium would have felt like a pit stop when you described Belgium like in that poem. So Belgium was a pit stop for you, and then you moved on somewhere. But nice, and I think it also echoes with what Gayatri was speaking about,
Exactly.
capturing those things. You do not know what you would capture, and suddenly that moment is in front of you, and I think we are fortunate enough that we have a camera as a technology with us to at least remind us of that moment we lived.
Correct.
Otherwise, I don't think the human brain can take in. I would have loved if there was a facility to actually capture whatever we captured through our eyes and just print it out in some manner.
Sure, it will come in some point in future.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It will be very dangerous though at times, but yeah, yeah. But nice. But thank you, Preeti. Thank you so much. It's been lovely. Thank you for as always sharing your lovely words with us. It's always nice to have you. But the other Preeti was very excited when she saw you there, and that's why she immediately greeted you. Hello, Preeti. Yeah, Preeti Singh Preeti. Yes, very much. Gayatri says so relatable. Kajal says, wow, so awesome.
Everything that Gayatri told today was like so relatable to, like, I could just feel, and I haven't solo traveled for a long time now. It's almost 6 years that solo traveled really. 2013, I think Japan was the last time I solo traveled. But it is, because then you you now have family, so you would normally go, but it's different. But yeah, I can totally relate to everything Gayatri said, because it just and especially once you do that, you want to do it, you want to keep doing it.
Yes, very much. I think the first couple of travels are possibly a bit unnerving if it is not a familiar place or a place which is not comfortable. But after that, I think you are perfect. You just know what to do, when to do, be by yourself. Yeah. So nice. See, Preeti again. Yes, I love Preeti's poetry, recitations, and stories she narrates. Yeah. So
thank you.
Your fan following, you know you have to publish a book. We have given you all those KPIs. You better perform according to them. So please.
Yeah, you have to continuously, like, when are you publishing?
Oh yes, very much. We will be doing that. I will be doing that again and again. So please continue writing. Very nice to see you. You were about to say something.
No. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thank you, and take care of yourself. Have a lovely rest of the week ahead. Your week starts soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you. Bye.
Bye. And that was Preeti from Sydney, Australia. Once again with one of her lovely writings. And as Preeti from UK says, yes, extremely lovely. It's not about just her writing, the way she recites them, the way she conveys them. It's just beautiful. And thank you so much to everybody for listening in today, for watching it. Thank you, Gayatri and Preeti, for being on the session. It's been nice hosting you, and I hope that travel in some form begins in a much more pleasurable manner somewhere or the other. This is Amit Sangekar signing off from yet another session of Beyond Reading with You. Take care.